Hey gang, Captain Jim Ross here with Captain Mark Gibson. Hope you enjoy today's show. We're going to have it for you here just shortly, so don't go away. We're going to be right back after this.
Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning to check out what's going on here up and down the Space Coast with us right here on the WWBC signal. 1510 a.m. strong. We're going from Titusville, Mims, Scottsmore, all the way up the coast towards the Mosquito Lagoon, and then all the way down towards Sebastian Inlet, and even farther as the sun comes up, and we go from 25,000 to 50,000 watts. Then we start pumping it all the way down towards that St. Lucie area. So we appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning right here to listen to what's going on. I'm Captain Jim Ross. I'm your host of the show, and we're going to do this thing we call Catch a Memory for the next 2 hours. Also, for those of you guys and gals that may be listening on the AM or one of the FM signals, remember you can always get us on Facebook. And if you ever miss a show, go back to catchamemory.outdoors.com, click on that archive podcast, click on that link you want to listen to, whatever the date it is, and you can check out what's going on that particular date. If you want to go back and hear the show again because you missed a part of it or wanted to just re-listen to a part of it, there it is for you. And, of course, you can always check us out on Facebook. So you can get there and check us out right there. Captain Mark Gibson is my guest this morning. And, Mark, it's been a while, man.
It's been a minute.
You've been busy.
I've been a busy boy. Got my son going in the military, and then, the wife's changing jobs. It's just it's been a busy.
A lot of things going on.
Been all over the place. Been all over the place.
Fishing, though. We're coming off of our spring break rush, and fishing has been pretty darn good for the most part. I'm going to say I enjoyed most of those days. Now, there was a day or two.
A few days. It's
that you're like,
that river can make you a hero and a zero
it can.
On the same day.
It can.
Yeah, and Daytona's been about that way too. It's, you can go to that inlet on any given day, and if you catch the tide just right, sheephead bite has been on fire.
Right.
Pompano have been showing up. You're catching a little bit of the Spanish mackerel been all over the place. And then if you miss that tide just a little bit, you go out there and you've wasted.
It's ghost land.
Oh, yeah. You spent $100 in bait that you can't give away.
Yeah.
So trying to figure that inlet out is crazy because the sheephead are all over it. But,
and somebody said something interesting to me the other day. Who was it? I don't remember who I was talking to. Just out of the blue, somebody said something. You know what? I know who it was. It was Captain Kyle Weaver. Okay. We're talking, and he's like, man, it seems like springtime is getting later and later, and summer's getting, later and later into the fall, and spring's getting later and later into the spring. It's not really lining up with the calendar anymore. And I said, that makes a lot of sense. He says, we just need a shift. We need to skip a couple of weeks or something. And we need to reset the calendar, if you will, so that it's more the way that it used to be. And I was thinking to myself, that because we've been talking now for the last, 8 or 10 years, all of the people that listen to the show, all of the callers that call into the show, Mike Mann in particular, he's big on patterns. And he's like, it's a March pattern, and it's still, and it's May kind of thing. It's not what it should be or has been. It's changing. And into the fall, we used to get cooler weather, starting mid-October. By Halloween, a lot of times you were wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
Right now, you're swatting mosquitoes as hard as you can go, and you're wearing as little as you can possibly
Better
wear
have some
because
bug
you're
spray.
sweating to death.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It isn't until later into the year, November, December, that we typically start cooling off. Now we'll get a front or two, but I mean the actual cool down is happening later and later. And so it's kind of interesting that he said it's like the calendar just doesn't line up with the weather.
It threw me off this year a little bit, during the winter time, where I was usually not catching, weak fish or my croakers, all through the winter, all the way up. Last year and the year before, you couldn't find them if the water temp was below 70 degrees.
Right.
I mean, not saying that they weren't in certain spots, they just weren't thick. And all through the winter, I mean, that was the go-to. They were there in 55-degree water. They were biting.
This year.
Like starving. Yeah, this year, January, February. And then when the water warmed up a little bit, water warmed up a little bit, And then the other day I went to the spot and catfish.
Yeah. Something definitely was different this year compared to years past because just, that particular bite, if you will. The other thing that really has caught my attention this year is the bluefish. Where are these giant New York, New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts, where are these 10 and 15 pound bluefish coming from all of a sudden? In the last
my area,
15 or 20 years,
yeah,
you would get one week, where you would see schools coming through Sebastian, then through Canaveral, and on through Ponce, and away they went up the beach. And then the fish that were offshore, you would catch them out there trolling ballyhoo on the edge of the stream in 200 feet of water, 250 feet of water, and you're like, all 4 rods go down, 5 rods go down, 6 rods go down.
Big
You're like,
blues.
oh, we're in them, we're in it, and they're jumping. Oh, we got dolphin on dolphin. And wait a minute, they don't look like dolphin. You get them up close to the boat, and they're 10 to 15 pound bluefish out, hitting your trolling spread. And so this year, over on the West Coast, Tampa South, they're getting giant bluefish. On this coast, from St. Lucie and Fort Pierce all the way up through Ponce, we've been getting them for an extended period of time. I mean, they showed up in Canaveral. They showed up in very, very late December, right around New Year's. Late December, early January, they showed up. Alex Goritzky, Captain Alex, who I had on the show here just recently, was one of the first guys that found them. He was out trying to pompano fish. And Alex was telling me, he called me, he goes, Jim, those big, blues? He goes, there are giant wads of them over here. You need to come over here. Well, I was triple tail fishing. And I'm like, well, hold that thought.
Give me a minute.
Hold that thought.
Yeah,
because I had a triple tail bite going on, and you're not leaving a triple tail bite to go to a bluefish bite. I don't care if it's a 15-pound bluefish. You're not doing it because we had a good triple tail bite going on. So we put a couple of fish in the boat. My clients had some dinner, and I'm like, hey, man, you want to go have some fun? And I get out, and I didn't bring any real big rods. I just had triple tail and, stuff like gear for that. So I'm tying these big old Rapala plugs on, rods that are really kind of too light to be throwing them. And
they were beating those plugs up.
They were crushing it.
Yeah.
We pull up, and there's a dark just knot of fish in the water. And they're daisy chaining, and their tails are all out of the water, and just really cool stuff that if you could video that, just really cool stuff to video. Throw that topwater plug in there and just start jerking on that thing, and I mean, it was on. It was game on. As you know, bluefish are not they're not afraid to chase something down.
They're going to hit it.
So that was the first day that happened, and of course they've been pretty consistent.
I just
for 3 months.
I just had a captain on Facebook the other day posting some stuff that he was catching, and he was the same thing. Hey, we got bluefish still back up in the backwaters. Mm-hmm. I got a friend, Larry, down in Sebastian. He found a school. I want to say he called me last week and said they're probably heading your way. So
coming up the beach.
So we may continue to have that blue bite, which, hey, won't hurt my feelings at all.
But I personally have never heard of them over on the West Coast side. And that's what really shocked me. Was I was talking with Jeff Page this week. We just started the Florida Insider Fishing Report this week, TV show. So that season started Thursday. Thursday night was the first airing. Today will be at 9:30 will be the last airing of this particular show for this week. But long story short, Jeff was saying that they're getting those gigantic bluefish over in Sarasota, and that's
crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what happened this year that took that entire biomass of fish that normally would say stay off of the North Carolina to South Carolina coast
and spread them
in the
out
winter, and bring them all the way down around the tip of Florida and up into the Gulf? What was it that did that? That's interesting.
Too many sharks up there.
Now that could be a logical conclusion.
I mean, they're everywhere. Let's be for real.
Well, you were just saying before we started the show, they're seeing great whites all over Site 5.
Site 5, Site 12. That's why I stay in the boat. But that's another problem. I do like the shark fishing that time of year. That is a lot of fun catching those things, especially when the shrimp boats and everything start showing back up. But yeah, I don't know about the bluefish. I'd be curious to see, in this week when I get back out there if they're still around. Because like I said, Larry said it was a big pod coming north.
Yesterday I fished Sebastian, but the day before I fished the port, and I wasn't really messing with them too much. I was trying to do some other stuff, but I talked with Captain David Glasser. We got off the water at the same time, and he had 3 of those.
It's hard to get away from them if they're
big ones that he was getting ready to fillet for his customers. And I said, I kind of, his customers were already kind of away from us.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, are you really going to eat those things? He goes, actually, if you bleed them and pack them full of ice, just pack them on the ice. He goes, they're actually not too bad. And I was like, not too bad as in Mrs. Paul's fish sticks, or not too bad as in Friskies.
I think it's all. And he says, no, how you cook it.
He says, no, they're if you eat them fresh, if you bleed them, and then ice them, and eat them fresh, they're actually fairly good. Because I don't think I've ever done that before. I don't think I've ever bled them out before. Now, when I'm keeping the bluefish, I generally keep small bluefish for the clients. Yeah. And they actually eat very well. And if you like smoked fish, they are fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic smoke. Because that's where the oils in the body come into play in that smoking process, where you get a better piece of fish. You try and smoke a piece of snapper or grouper, it's okay, but it's really not that good. But you smoke a piece of amberjack, or smoke some Spanish mackerel, or some salmon as an example. Or bluefish. Those fish smoke much better because of those additional oils. So, anyway, definitely different weather, fish patterns. I don't know, whatever it is, but things are different this year.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have somebody that knew the bluefish migration, could call in or give us a insight on why, like you said, why they're on the West Coast, or why they're still coming up. Like you said, we didn't really have that many last year,
and we had
the year before.
And we had a as far as our water temperatures goes, we had a warmer than average year in the temperature department, but it was cool for a longer period of time. So it wasn't cold, it was just cool for longer. Maybe that's what did it. I don't know. Because the weather this year was more like Seattle weather than Florida weather. So
yeah, my snook bite that was, that I usually always like to get down south, they weren't as thick as they were. Me and Brian was kind of working. He was getting on them, and I was trying some other spots, and where I'd taken Brett, Burford.
And last year you guys were crushing them.
And then wasn't I don't think I caught. Well, I think I took Kevin one day, and we caught a couple, and that was it. Yeah. And that was a long ride down.
So once
that
again,
way.
a little bit different pattern.
Something a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about how the trout have showed up after this next break, so don't go away. Captain Mark Gibson and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back with Catch a Memory Outdoors after these messages. Guys, the fella and the girl I've got on the boat are like, this stuff is incredible. Why don't all boats come with this? And I was like, well, it's not cheap. It's a premium upgrade to what your standard gel coat is on your deck, but it cleans up really easily. It's super soft on your feet, and they were like, man, you can like lay down on the deck on this, and it's comfortable. It's like standing in a pair of like cushy flip-flops all day long. I said, yeah. I said, wait till the end of the day. Your back's going to feel great. It won't feel like you've been beat up all day standing on a hard gel coat deck. So it's amazing to me how my customers that I get on the boat like it as much as I do. So, I mean, that should tell you guys and gals out there everything you need to know. If you are looking for some more comfort, if you're looking for some better safety, as a non-slip type of an additive to put to the deck of your boat, Lamb Deck EVA non-skid decking is it. And, all you got to do is, it's super easy. Just call Jaden or call Tom up at Lamb Deck and just say, hey, I want to get some. And they laser measure everything, laser cut, laser CNC, everything perfectly to the boat. If you want to see what it looks like, you can obviously go to their website. You can look at my website or my Facebook stuff. Scroll back through it. You'll see some stuff on my Facebook pages that I've got. They put my custom little Skeeter emblem in there, and all that kind of stuff. It is a first-class operation. But give these guys a call, 321-505-4888. That's 321-505-4888. We appreciate them being this segment of the show's sponsor. And I'm telling you guys and gals, you're going to love this stuff if you get it on your boat. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Daniel Lavac on the line from Gobbler's Lodge. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, man. How are you, Jim?
Doing good, doing good. So no wahoo fishing today, I see.
No. I got a busy day today. No, sir.
Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do. I appreciate you taking time out of your morning. Man, you know, for those guys and gals out there that aren't familiar with the Gobbler's Lodge, this is probably the biggest, best play area for an adult that likes to shoot a bow that you could ever see. Daniel has multi-level shooting stages or stations, just all over the property. He's got a pro shop on board, and you guys are having a big day today. You've got your outdoor days going on.
Yeah, man. Trying to kind of get some stuff done for myself this morning, and then we're back at it. My guys are already, I think they're all headed to the Osteen Diner right now to get primed up.
Well, that's a good place to do it, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what have you got going on out there today, Daniel?
So we open up at 11. It's from 11 to 5. We do this every year in the spring, right towards the tail end of the turkey season. And when we close the actual range, the range is open seasonally from September till April. And we do it just kind of freshen everybody up and remind you, hey, we're here. Don't show up, August 1st trying to restring a bow. We're here all summer.
Yeah.
But today's our 4th annual outdoor day, which we do demos with archery. I've got actually Bear Archery here from Gainesville. They're techs with us. So you can shoot the full bear lineup. And then my buddies, Jamie and Doug from Southern Podcast, they're trophy line ambassadors. So guys just getting into hunting may or may not got wind of the saddle hunt. It's still kind of new to some, but it's been out for some time now. But these guys are doing saddle demos. We got games. We got some raffles. Lady Sugar Shack's doing barbecue. So it's just it's the right day. This is probably one of the last few cool days before the heat is on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
You couldn't have dialed the weather in any prettier than what we're going to have today. It's going to be low humidity. We got a little north breeze coming in. It's going to keep everything cool throughout the day, so it won't feel Africa hot out there. And you can come and see some cool demonstrations, cool products. And like you say, if you need to get your bow tuned up, there's pro staff on site. But it's probably something we always tell people here on the show. You need to have your bow tuned up at least once a year, and make sure that everything, your cam timing is right, your peep is right, your D loop is right, your strings aren't worn, cables aren't worn. There's a lot of things that can mess up your shot placement if your bow isn't tuned properly. It's kind of like having a car with the alignment off on it. It's a little harder to drive. It's wearing the tires out. It's just not right. And so, like you were just saying, Daniel, come shoot today at your place. If you feel like something's a little off, hey, it's time to get it tuned up.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we are, for the crowd, just because I've realized we do stuff like this, and then the phone calls are coming and guys are showing up. So we are, as the shop goes, we are only open Saturdays and Sundays from 11 to 5.
Okay.
Going into next season, it's possible I may open a day during the week. But if anybody here knows archery, especially coming into the summer months, it's a forgotten art. So we try to, what's made us successful is we kind of condense it down into a few days over the weekend. Or we are by appointment, but this time of year we don't really see a lot of appointments. Now like I said, come about 4th of July and on, everybody's starting to think about it and get it back in their brain. They're ready for the heat to stop, and you get an 81-degree morning, you think it's a cold front.
Yeah.
In August, So Yeah, we're here. Be here all day, and we can do anything in the way of archery. We do have the ability to restring, work on the crossbows. Even though we're not a dealer for all the brands, we're still in touch with these guys and able to get the pieces and parts to do what we need to do here in the shop to get the bows running again.
Yep. Real quick, Daniel, 11 to 5, and where's Gobbler's Lodge located at?
We're off Maytown Road, east on Maytown Road, off the 415 at 385 at Gobbler's Lodge. If anybody knows where Skip Shoes and Boots is, there, or where Skip's is, they've been there, I don't know, 25 years or something like that. We are 6 miles east on Maytown Road.
That's Gobbler's Lodge. You guys got a big day coming up today. Appreciate you calling in this morning to let all of our listeners know about it.
Yeah, man. No worries. You guys have a good weekend.
All right, buddy. We'll try and see you out there.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye now. Lots of fun stuff going on.
Fun stuff.
In the springtime, Daniel with the Gobbler's Lodge, and one of the sponsors of this show, Tino, down at All About Archery. These guys are so busy in the fall time, getting everybody dialed in and ready to go just before the season. And every single person that I've talked to, every single guy that I've talked to that ever tunes a bow, anything like that,
all right, thanks.
They all tell you the best thing for you to do is right after hunting season stops. Okay, you've been out in the woods, you've climbed up and down the ladder stand, you've maybe banged your bow here and there, you drug it through the brush, whatever it was. That's the time to go get everything checked. Make sure that your strings and cables are good. Make sure everything's tuned in, because you don't want to get out of tune over the summer shooting a bow that's not tuned properly, and then just before season in the fall you get it retuned, and now you're not quite right again. You've been practicing bad basically all summer long. They say get it done early before you're going to be taking it back out and
makes sense,
dragging it out and up and down in the woods. And that way, when you do get there, you know how your bow is going to shoot, because you've shot the same consistent pattern all summer long. That's how you become a really, really good bow hunter. That's the way you do it. We're going to go back to the phone lines. Got Capt Mike Mann on the line. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good
We're
morning,
doing
Mikey.
fantastic, buddy. What's going on?
Try to stay warm out here. I put winter clothes away, I pull winter clothes out. Put winter clothes away, pull winter clothes out. You get 74, 75 degree water temperature this morning. We got 65 degree water temperature.
Wow, it dropped that much, huh?
Yeah, it's dropped quite a bit in the last few, up in the flats. But you know what? We've already put a nice fat red fish on top water into the boat. So, it's not that cooler water's not affecting the redfish so far.
That is cool. So the little bit of yesterday I saw the first few finger mullet kind of trickling back out onto the flats, and I was thinking to myself, okay, it's almost time to get that skitter walk back out again.
Yeah, I had a really I don't know if I guess we did talk about last week on the show. Guys, there's a push right dead in 12 o'clock. 30 feet out, sorry. Pulling and pointing. And we had a really great trout bite. I think it was last Thursday or Friday. Had a great trout bite on top water. I mean, nothing under 18 inches, just exploding on the top water.
Wow.
Then the cold front came in, and this is the first time I've really thrown one this week, just because I've got fishermen on the boat today.
Yeah.
And so we can actually go out and fish and not soak stuff. But the schools of black drum. I fished a school of black drum yesterday, probably 200 fish, and they've got to be spawning, because they weren't eating, that's for sure. And you could just see them kind of almost daisy chaining on the bottom, just swimming in circles.
Yeah.
So I figure with this new moon, they've got to be, new moon coming up, I think tomorrow night, they've got to be in there spawning.
I was going to say, this is probably one of the last spawns of the year, because the last 2 months, right around those new and full moons, they've done exactly that same thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, they'll feed like crazy leading up to it, and then all of a sudden, man, they got loving on the mind.
Yeah. It's hard to eat a cheeseburger when you're trying to make love.
Right.
Right. And,
I'm just saying.
You go and give it a go. No doubt about it.
It's tough to multitask.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Listeners out there know they can understand that.
Yes.
It's so hopefully this is. I mean, they can spawn as much as they want. Hey, the more they spawn, the more fish we have. So
Exactly.
I'm happy about that. It's kind of neat. We still got some schools of reds around. I'm anticipating in the next probably week or two, we're going to start getting less schools and more like war parties. And we're going to start getting that kind of breakup where you're going to be able to cruise the shoreline, and where if you weren't on the school of redfish, you were just in dead water. Hopefully in the next week or two, maybe 3 weeks, we'll start getting where you'll start having those cruising fish on the shoreline, especially leading up to the next full moon, and if we can get a little more water in here, man, the water's low.
Gotcha. Well, buddy, we are up against our next break. Have you got any days available where somebody can get out and get involved with what you got going on?
I do. I've got actually quite a few days open next week, and then the week after, I've got a few scattered days here and there. You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. Follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Mann with 2 N's, and on Facebook, Fatfish Guide Service. Guys, get out there, catch a memory. Have a great weekend.
All right, buddy. We appreciate the call, and you guys be safe and catch them up out there today.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we got lines are open again for those of you that are trying to call. We're going to take our short pause here, and then Captain Mark Gibson and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back with a whole lot more Catch a Memory, so don't go away. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. I'm Captain Jim Ross, and Captain Mark Gibson will be returning shortly. This segment of the show is brought to you by Sun State Pest Management. So, you know what? If you live in Florida, you're going to get bugs. If you don't have bugs, you're going to get bugs in your house. And so that's not the desired place that you want those things. Ants, roaches, spiders, you name it, they're going to try and get in your house, especially as we start to have more and more of the rain. It's going to come on, especially in the middle of the season. We're going to have May, June, July. It's going to start getting really rainy. Bugs really start coming in. And, of course, in the springtime right now, you've got ants that are trying to find a new home because their colonies are splitting and breaking up and repositioning themselves around. So call Sun State Pest Management, 800-781-7378. Have them take care of any of your pest problems that you may have. All right, we're going to go back to the phone lines. We've got Captain Jeff Kranick on the line this morning. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing today, buddy?
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good
doing
morning.
Good, man. Doing good. What's going on in Jeff's world today?
We are getting ready to launch. We're out in the water. Going to go chase some triple tail, maybe some of those big bluefish that are on the beach.
Gotcha. Yep, they were there. They were there 2 days ago. I wasn't fishing on the beach yesterday. It was a different kind of a trip yesterday. I was staying inside, but hopefully you guys find
how
them.
did we miss each other? We're probably 400 yards apart, and I never saw you out there.
Probably so. Yeah, I don't know. But I came down south and fished that Sebastian area yesterday. And I was surprised about, Jeff, is how dirty the water is. It's surprisingly dirty in the Melbourne through Grant area.
Towards the end of duck season, you were out there, it cleaned up really nice, and we ended up getting all that rain, and it hasn't cleaned itself up yet. It's just been mud water.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised. I was happy to see all the bait. There are a lot of pogies in the river right now. Mullet and glass minnows starting to show up as well. But the main thing was the pogies that I was starting to. You could see them flipping. I launched at Front Street and worked my way down to the inlet and back up, and the entire length from Melbourne Causeway south to Sebastian Inlet, there was bait in the river. So that's going to be good because that's going to promote big snook, big trout, and the big redfish. And of course, in late April, early May, we start getting those 10 to 15 and even sometimes 20-pound jacks in the river as well. So it brings a lot of those bigger predators in whenever we've got menhaden in the lagoon system.
Well, I was up with Blair up in the lagoon. I think it was Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And we were sight fishing up there. It was absolutely gorgeous up there. We launched at 42, went across, kind of bounced around a little bit, fished the clinkers, and it's nice to see grass coming back.
Yes. Yeah, there's grass growing in the Banana River now. I actually saw grass in multiple places in the Banana, so I was really excited about that. It wasn't Calorpa; it was actual grass.
Yeah, that's what we were dealing with up there. So we were getting catching some redfish for the Star Tournament with Lisa Fitzgerald.
Gotcha. Put a couple of tags in a couple of fish.
Yeah, they don't want you introducing fish up there like you can everywhere else in the state. So we have to catch them again and tag them and let them go. We can import fish.
Yep. Nope. I've done that multiple years. I understand. I understand exactly what you guys were doing.
So
here's the cool thing about that, though, Jeff. All of these fish are in. They're not in some secret hidey hole somewhere. They're in very accessible spots.
Yeah, Blair and I were getting around in our boats, no problem.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fish are very accessible, and the ramps were loaded up there. Like people don't have jobs, or the snowbirds haven't gone home yet.
Yeah.
We stopped at Outriggers the other night for some beers and some apps, and it was standing room only. And I asked one of the waitresses, I go, "Snowbirds?" "Yes." "I wish they'd go away."
Well, it's still snowing up north. They don't want to go back to that yet. I can't blame them.
Can't blame them either. Hey, just a reminder, I know Sid's going to call in a little while. We got the mud run coming up next week at the Jolly Gator. I'll leave the rest to Sid. I just want to throw a reminder out there.
Yep. Now, anybody that wants to get involved with that, they need. What is the name of the organization that's putting that on?
Tin Can.
Tin Can.
Yeah, it's what they do is the monies go to taking disabled firefighters, police officers, military, out gator hunting, out fishing, that kind of stuff. Tries to keep them in the outdoors.
Yeah, it's a very, very good program. And the mud run is not you and me running through the mud. It's mud boat run.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, there was like 10 airboats there last year. There was 107 boats that ran last year. And, it was a nice run. Of course, you guys showed up later after the show and gorged yourself on, we all gorged ourselves on crawfish. What am I talking about?
Yeah, that was not a bad time.
Never is.
No.
Yeah, never is.
Yeah, Blair and I were actually doing the show that day, so we jumped in the airboat afterwards and ran from 520 up to 46, and where Jolly Gator's at, and actually got in on. We got there right after the mud run had ended, and everybody started eating. So we missed the mud run portion of it, but we didn't miss
You hit the main thing.
We didn't miss the crawfish boil,
Yeah.
so we were able to contribute some money to that and help get those guys, get them out there in the outdoors.
I've never seen Blair sweat like that before.
Those were some hot ones. Yeah,
they were. And the same gentleman's cooking again. He's coming down from Atlanta with his food truck. So it's going to be a large time.
Yeah, big and rich time. Big and rich time, that's for sure.
Okay, buddy, I'll talk to you later. We're going to try to get some fishing in here.
All righty, well, good luck this morning. Hopefully you have the same amount of success you did yesterday.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Jeff, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, bud? Oh, did he? Okay. All right, well, that was Captain
Jeff.
Jeff Cranick, Coastal Sportsman. You can get a hold of him if you want to get out on the water in that, he's down there fishing out of the Palm Bay area.
Okay.
Basically where I was in the water yesterday between Melbourne and the inlet.
Well, was he catching a bunch of those blues? I didn't really wonder if...
Well, no, actually he said he was going to the port today, didn't he? Yeah, he was going to the port today, but he's been fishing down in the south part.
Yeah.
A lot of trout down there. Lady fishing jacks are starting to show up. Like I said, with those bait fish that are starting to show up, we're going to start to see a lot more. Menhaden, both the yellowtail menhaden and the greenies and pilchards. So those herring style baits, they're
when those
all starting to show
yeah.
up. And big reds, big jacks. It's funny down in the Sebastian area where they don't do this as much in the Banana River side or up in the middle and northern parts of the Indian River Lagoon. But down towards the inlet, these 10-ish pound, plus or minus a couple of pound Jack Crevalle schools start just blitzkrieging the entire river. And you can see it happening because you're sitting there and you're like, well, there's an explosion.
Yeah.
And then like 50 more yards, there's an explosion. And then 50 or 100 more yards, there's 2 explosions. They are running. They're kind of a widespread group, and they're just racing up the flat, just blowing everything up. And so if you see that, you can jump on plane, run up around, and get in front of them. And I'm telling you what,
it's a lot of fun.
You want to talk about throwing a topwater plug and having some fun? It's one of those, you cast it out there, and the bigger the plug, the better normally. You try to get it back to the boat. Try is the key word here, without them, trying to get it. I mean, you're cranking it as fast as you can.
They're going to get it.
They'll get it.
Yeah. And we were catching some the other day.
But the cool part about it is the jacks are big, first of all. But the redfish, the big bull reds, will, especially if they're not in the shallow flats, if they're in off the edges like Long Bar, Mullet Creek, between there and like Grant Farm Island, up to Hog Point, and even in the channel on the west side of the island string there, Grant Farm Island, and then going down towards the Sebastian River inlet, or the mouth of the Sebastian River, I should say, the inlet to that, the US 1 bridge, that area there, they will just run up and down at warp factor 2, not factor 5, but at least factor 2, right?
Yeah.
Just destroying anything that
anything is in its path.
Yeah, anything in their path. And those big redfish run with them some days. So it's you're casting, and you'll see a jack or two bust, and all of a sudden you'll see this bright long gold thing come out of the water, just blow something up. It is really, really exciting fishing, and it only happens for about 3 weeks in the springtime, and it's getting ready to start.
Yeah, you hook into a big jack.
I didn't see it yesterday, but it's getting ready to start. So it's one of those things. It's just a big time. Bring up a little bit bigger rod. Your regular trout rod is not what you're going to want to try and tackle these guys with. Bring a little bit bigger rod, a 4,000 or 5,000 size reel, even a 6,000 size reel, bigger plug. Have it ready if you're fishing in that part of the river. And you guys and gals, when you see it, you'll know. You'll know. It's like, oh, that's it.
When you feel it, you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you feel them trying to jerk the rod out of your jerk your shoulder out because they're trying to jerk the rod out of your hand, you'll know. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. Give us a shout here, 3216-321,000. We're going to be right back after these messages with Captain Mark Gibson and myself, Jim Ross, so don't go away. Welcome back, guys. I just got a text message from Gary Brown, and all I see is palmetto bushes, an open flat in the middle of the pines, and a gun barrel.
What?
He's leaned up against a tree this morning. He got some palmettos around him for a little. He's built himself a little ground blind. He's actually kind of situated between some palm trees, and it looks like an oak on his left with some palmettos to his back and to his right. So, and he's got you know what I see? I'm zooming in now.
What do he got?
He's got a Jake sitting out in front of him. He called a Jake in, so I'm sure Gary's a very experienced turkey hunter. I'm sure that bird is not coming home with him. But that's kind of a cool shot. So
Let me see.
Yeah, check that. That's kind of a cool shot.
What is this thing?
That's my iPhone 5,
that's
baby.
iPhone 5?
iPhone 5 still kicking.
I feel like I'm gonna break it.
That is OG right there, man.
Nobody can track that. That's for sure.
It's untrackable.
I didn't even know
Original garbage.
No.
OG.
Hey, if it's still getting a signal. Hey.
I love
it's been beat up by salt water.
Dude,
I mean,
this thing is like 19 years old or something at this point.
I hear you.
And it's been dropped, kicked, punted, run over.
That's what I need to go back to.
It keeps working.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't see spending $1,000 to talk on a phone when this one still works.
And it's untraceable.
Well,
Well, just like you say something, all of a sudden, hey, we were talking about something in Detroit, and all of a sudden I'm getting ads for something that.
Oh yeah.
I'm in Detroit one day, and they're trying to sell me tickets to the Tigers game.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't say anything about baseball.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Big Brother's listening. iPhone 5.
He's always listening. Crooked. Anyway, that's another story.
Well, let's talk about Engle coolers real quick because if you guys and gals haven't seen the new 60 Ultralight, it's a
No,
really
but I'm looking
great
to use
cooler.
it.
It's a great cooler. $200 retail price.
Oh, you can't beat that.
No, it's half the price of what a standard cooler would be. And now, Mark, you and I need heavy duty coolers. Okay,
beat them up pretty good.
We wear a cooler out if given the chance, and so we have to buy the standard heavy duty Engel cooler. But if you're throwing it in the tailgate of the truck and you're going to the ball game, the kids' soccer or girls' softball match, whatever it happens to be, it's one of those things where that 60 quart will hold all the drinks you need for a day. It'll hold all the lunch, the snacks, everything that you need to keep cool for the entire day, and it's a lot lighter. It's still durable, it's still heavy duty, but it's a lot lighter than a standard heavy duty cooler, and it's half the price. Half the price.
And they hold up.
Keeps ice forever.
Yeah.
You open the lid, it's like a snowstorm in there. It's ridiculous,
and hey, and the way prices are on everything else, you don't want to burn.
Well, ice is $3.50 a bag now.
Well, you
$3.59 a bag.
You need to go to Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's got a better price.
20 pounds for $1.99.
Well, see, for me, that's a 100-mile round trip.
Well, so I might
I'm
deliver.
not necessarily
I'm
saving any money.
The way the prices are, maybe I need to just meet people at the boat ramp.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, check out the new Engel UL60. It's just a fantastic new product. Great latches. Comes with a divider. Comes with a hanging basket already in it. Couple of different colors. It's got a bottle opener on it. It's just a really, really well thought out product. And the main thing is that this new one, they've changed the interior of the bottom. The bottom is flat, so it's not sloped like all of these performance coolers are sloped to run the water off the ice, so the ice lasts longer because it's not trying to cool the water and keep the water cold. So it drains it off, but what's interesting is it has grooves in it. So the bottom's flat, but it has grooves in it so everything can sit flat and flush, but the water can drain out and keep everything dry as well. So it's just just barely crack the drain on it,
and just let it seep out.
Just let it seep, and it's the coolest thing. It's one of those things you're like, why didn't somebody think of that before?
Yeah,
but they have. So engelcoolers.com, check them out. Hey, we're gonna go to the phone lines. Sid's calling in from Tin Can. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all this morning?
We're doing good, buddy. You know what? Last year, I kind of got this whole mud run thing kind of thrown at me almost the morning of the event. And so, it was one of those things. Fortunately, I didn't have anything going on that day. I was able to show up. You guys are doing a really, really cool thing for first responders and vets to try to get them and keep them active and out in the woods. It is a fantastic program.
Yes, sir, it is. It is. This particular event that we're doing, we started over 7 years ago and watched it grow, year by year, each year. And attendance is something that is apps. Last year was kind of I don't want to say it's the pinnacle. It's just part of the beginning, but we had over 300 people attend. Yeah. We raised close to $40,000 for the alligator program for Tin Can. And what that does is pay all their expenses when they come to hunt alligators with us. And we had, I think, a little over 300 people that we took last year with that particular program.
That's incredible.
And it is something. At some point in your life, with what you do, you have to give back. And
yep.
It's a worthy cause. It's a nonprofit organization. Nobody gets paid. It's all volunteer. And it's just a good thing. We have a lot of fun, and I appreciate you and Blair showing up last year, something we weren't expecting. And Jeff, he attends a lot of them and enjoys coming out to hang out with everybody. And but we had fun. It was a good thing. We had over 126 people in the poker run, a little over 100 boats participated. It was unbelievable. what everybody wants to do and help out and give back, it makes for a good thing.
Well, it's a good time, first of all, because you're out in the outdoors. You're out on the water. You're out having a good time. You're with like-minded people that we all like to, you're not hanging with somebody who's wanting to, crochet, or somebody that's wanting to paraglide. It's, you're hanging with somebody that's got a mud boat, an airboat, likes to be out on the marsh, out on the river, just enjoys the outdoors, and what best of all, enjoys eating some good crawfish.
Oh man, we got
can you miss
same
that?
guy, Mike Spiker with Voodoo Daddy Seafood. He is going to be there again this year, cooking the crawfish again. We've got an order for 1,500 crawfish. It's going to be all you can eat, and there's going to be a lot of people that will be miserable after they eat for a little bit. So.
Yeah, I saw a couple of beads of sweat coming off of quite a few guys with some of that seasoning that they were putting on there. But it was it was a really cool event at Jolly Gator. You guys are having it at the same place again, Jolly Gator again?
Yes, so Jolly Gator again. They're in Geneva. They have been. I tell you, Jolly Gator's been an awesome asset to this team. They are. We're going to have the nice porta potties again, which is kind of a change, but they give us free run of their place, and it is it's something spectacular. When you get a community that comes together, Central Florida community, and people come from all over, from Georgia, Alabama, it's just one of those things. Like you said, it's whether you're a hunter, whether you're a fisherman, whether you're a kayaker, whether you're an airboater, whatever. Everybody gets together and you enjoy the time outdoors, and everybody forgets about what you're driving and what you do, and we're raising money for a good cause.
Yeah. So it's next Saturday. How does somebody get involved if they want to become, if they want to run their boat in the mud boat run, the poker run, or just kind of come and hang out? How do you just come and eat like Blair and I got out of the show, and we got there a little late. We rolled up in the airboat, but it was one of those things where it was like, man, I want to go help out, and I want to go see some of these guys that that I enjoy talking with on a regular basis, and met some new friends while we were there too. So it was really cool.
Oh yeah. There's the group that there's some gentlemen that have graciously taken over the responsibility of running this, 14 can, and because one of them is a military veteran, Will Krebs. It's called Under Pressure Outdoors. You can go to their Facebook page, and there's a link there. And the biggest thing that we've been asking people is if you can pre-register for the event, especially if you're going to do the poker run. We need you to pre-register so it's a little more organized for the poker run this year. It was a little chaotic last year, but
gotcha.
We're just trying to make it better. We've got a few surprises with the poker run this year. We've got a couple items that we're going to give away just for you people, participating in the poker run. And the poker run consists of 5 stops around Lake Harney, where you pick a card and then the best poker hand, wins.
Yep.
Last year, I think we gave away the first place over $1,100 to that person that had the best hand.
Nice.
But we paid out 3 spots. I mean, it's just fun to get out there. And Lake Carney right now is in good shape. You know what I mean? We're looking at hopefully having some good weather. Right now, it says it's going to be around 70 degrees all day, so it ought to be beautiful for riding in the boat and relaxing, and you're not sweating to death doing it.
That's the truth. So Under Pressure Outdoors Facebook page,
yes, sir,
is where you can go to sign up.
Yeah, and Tin Can, Florida Can should have a couple links on there. My business page, Fast Duck Motors, it'll have the link there for you to go to, and it is I think it's if you register early, there's a discount for registering early. The day of, it costs a little bit more.
Gotcha.
But nonetheless, try to if you're going to launch a boat, be in the poker run. We've been desperately looking for some other sites for people close by to be able to launch, because we know that boat ramp is going to be packed again.
Yeah, it probably will. Well, buddy, we're against our top of the hour break. Appreciate you calling in this morning. Looking forward to showing up after the radio show next week, enjoying some camaraderie. and helping to give back to some of those first responders and veterans that try to, do my part to help eat a crawfish, but also to help get those guys out and do some hunts here later in the year. So we appreciate everything that you guys are doing. The Under Pressure group is doing. Tin Can stepping up in a big way. And so they need to go to Under Pressure Outdoors on the Facebook page, and that's where they can get registered up.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
buddy.
Captain Jim, thank you. I appreciate all you've done to help promote this and get the word out as well.
I enjoy a good time, brother, and you guys put on a good time.
That's what we're trying to do. You guys have a great day, and I appreciate your time again. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Take care. I'm telling you right now, man, if it's a big time and if you like crawfish, you like a good low country boil, it's the place to be next weekend at Jolly Gator. I'm going to be there. Hey, guys and gals, we're at the top of the hour. We got to take our next break. When we come back, Captain Mark Gibson and myself got a whole lot more Catch a Memory, so don't go away. Welcome back. This is the second hour of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals that are tuned into the radio station each week to listen to what's going on. Captain Mark Gibson's digging into his goodie bucket
I'm
here.
like to show everybody here that, Starbright has a lot of different products. I know we may not be on that segment, but I did see this. And everybody that knows me knows that I use a lot of Starbright products.
Well, and everybody that knows you like free stuff. Don't we all?
But
right?
here's the thing. I don't usually, if it's junk free,
it's not worth using.
If you're any of my friends and I give you something that's free, it's because I didn't want to use it. So that's why a lot of
at least you're upfront about it.
Yeah,
I'm
good about giving away stuff that I don't want. So, but yeah, some of this Starbright stuff is amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys and gals have any questions for us, give us a call here, 321-632-1000. We'd love to hear from you. We are going to be here for the next hour. Mark, we were talking a little bit earlier about, the weak fish, the croakers, sheep's head. All of those species were pretty darn good this year. Trout are the one thing that we just have not been really finding a lot of through the winter months. Now, all of a sudden, they're starting to show up in pretty decent numbers. A lot of smaller fish this year, but like Captain Mike was saying earlier, we got that little bit of warming trend. The water temperatures got up into the low to mid 70s, and all of a sudden, boom, butterflies start flying around. You start seeing those white and yellow butterflies, and then it's time for trout. It's trout time.
Yeah.
So the next couple of weeks, that's what we're really going to be seeing. And so first thing in the morning, especially first thing in the morning, when you're getting out in the flats, in the shallow flats of the Banana River, Indian River, Mosquito Lagoon, topwater plugs. That's what you're going to want to throw. That from first light past about an hour past sunrise, that topwater plug bite should start to really pick up here in the next couple of weeks. And I get excited about that because, who doesn't like to catch something on topwater? And last week, I saw my first trout strike. Now, a lot of people, when they're out on the water, they're not necessarily sure what to look for. Mullet jumping, anybody can kind of see a mullet jump. And people get, especially people that haven't lived here before. Oh, fish are jumping. Well, that's mullet.
It's mullet
jumping. That's a good thing, though. When the mullet are jumping, they're happy or they're scared. Both are a good sign. If the fish are happy, then you normally have a fish, the predator fish are normally biting at that time. If they're scared, then, well, obviously they're definitely biting.
Yeah.
And there's two different ways that the mullet jump, as you well know, and as many of our listeners know. But what you don't necessarily see until you've spent time on the water are some of those little subtle things, okay? The tip of that redfish tail that sticks up, the swirl from that black drum, the V-wake coming down the flat from a big trout or a tarpon as it's just cruising from one spot to another, and you'll see that V-wake coming, or redfish for that matter. All of these things you need to pay attention to. The wind is going to blow the water in a certain direction. The current's going to take the water in a certain direction. But when you get away from those current areas and it's calm, if there's a movement in the water, it's typically created by a fish. And so a couple of the things that I personally look for, and I saw it for the first time this past, well, a week and a half ago now, because I mentioned it on last week's show. I was fishing in Flowing Well Creek by Houseboat Cut, and I was fishing some of those outer islands, outer points and outer islands where the mullet were congregating, and I was seeing some baby tarpon rolling here and there and popping some little glass minnows, and it was a fairly calm morning, so you could see really well. And out in the middle of the flat, I saw a splash. Okay, and it's not just any splash. For those of you that were listening last week, you know what I'm about to say. If you see a splash that looks like, if you're in a pool, okay, and you're trying to splash your brother, your daughter, your son, whatever, they're trying to splash you, you cup your hand and you just kind of smack at the water surface to push the water, and then cup it off of your fingertips and direct it towards whoever it is that you're trying to splash. That's what a big trout strike looks like. So when you're out on the flat and you're, don't just look, close to the boat. Look out 100, 200, 300 yards. Scan. I'm constantly scanning around the boat, looking for anything that looks like the signs of a fish. And last week I saw a splash that looked like a two-handed splash, not a one-handed. It looked like cupping both hands together and making that push of water. It went 12 or 13 inches high, and it went about 20 to 24 inches long. That's that strike from this fish. And when you see that kind of a strike, you're like, oh, that's
big boy there.
That's a big trout. That's a big female trout. She was just swinging at a mullet or something. And so, we start easing in that direction. And you're going to see more and more of that particular type of a scenario as you're out on the flats, especially when it's calm. Some of the areas that I would say to look for this is obviously Thousand Island area. But in the Indian River side, any of the flats from basically 528 north all the way to Haulover Canal, okay, all the way past Black Point to Haulover Canal, that whole eastern shoreline, those fish will start to migrate into those areas. They'll typically be around, if you look in an overhead view from, that 30,000 foot view, if you will, Google Earth, and you see all of the little points that stick off of the east side of the river. There's little tiny points, the way that the shoreline is kind of got scalloped edges to it. It's not a straight line. Concentrate on those points. In the middle of the river, there are not as many as there used to be, but there are still some spoil islands left. And where the spoil islands are, the mullet will, congregate around them. Another great place to find those bigger trout. And especially if there's a lot of bait ganged up over them. And then on the west shoreline, not so much south of Titusville, but when you get south of Melbourne, along, South Melbourne, Palm Bay, all the way down to Micco, Grant, even though there's docks along that shoreline, they get some big trout all the way down to the Sebastian River. They get some big trout in those areas. So you won't necessarily see the splashes as much out in between the docks, but every once in a while, if you're fishing around some of the docks, you'll see that splash. And down in that part of the water of the Indian River Lagoon system, you'll also see snook down there. You'll hear snook popping. Like, it'll be a pronounced popping sound when they strike. So, Cocoa, Rockledge, the water's kind of deep along that western shoreline. You don't really see that kind of activity. It isn't until you get north of 528 again, but it really isn't until you get north of the railroad bridge. That's where, when you get north of the railroad bridge, starting from Mims into Scottsmore, that huge expanse of flat, that's 13, probably 11 or 12 miles long, from the railroad bridge all the way up to Turnbull Creek. That side, those shallow flats, you'll see that type of activity going on. And then the whole northern rim, all the way from Turnbull, all the way back down past Onion Farm, Griffiths Bay, to Patillo Creek, all the way back down to Duck Roost Cove. You'll see that type of activity. Once again, concentrated more around some of those little points and features, but anywhere where there's mullet, the potential is there. And so at this time of the year, that's where you want to be looking. So just keep your eyes open, heads up. You're going to start seeing the big trout activity starting, and it should peak around the full moon later this month and in through to the full moon in May. So this next
I love some trout.
6 weeks is the time that we really get some big trout in this region. Hey, we're going to go to the phone lines. You know what? Let's take a quick break and get our break out of the way, and then we've got a caller on the line. So don't go away. We're going to be right back after these messages. This segment of the show is brought to you by Petrucci Insurance. Now, you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to continue saying it. Nobody likes to pay for insurance. It sucks. That's the bottom line. And I know that's a little harsh, but we don't like paying for insurance. So make sure that if you have something to insure, your house, your car, your boat, make sure that you're getting the proper coverage for that boat. Make sure if you need some gap coverage that's included in there as well. But make sure that you're not overpaying. Give Petrucci Insurance a call, 321-632-1200. That's 321-632-1200. Talk to them and see what they can do for you, because everybody's rates are going up right now, and there's nobody trying to give you a bargain. So you've got to go search it out. Give Petrucci a call. They're an independent insurance agent. They've got a variety of companies they work through, and they'll find you the best deal to fit into your particular needs for your insurance, coverage, and also for your payment plan. So give them a call. You're going to be impressed. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got the one and only Paul Berube calling in from Boaters Exchange this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning. Yes, sir.
Are you on your way to the boat show this morning, buddy?
Yeah, we are on our way to the Orlando Boat Show at the Orange County Convention Center. And, I tell you, it's a 3-day show. It's about as big of a boat show as we've ever put on there in terms of the, quantity of boats, the number of vendors. We've occupied every square foot of the North Hall.
That's
and
awesome.
It's going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yesterday was really busy. In fact, we had our best first day, at least my dealership, of the Orlando Boat Show ever.
Really? That's awesome to hear.
I was really pleased by that.
So it sounds like, there's plenty of inventory. Pricing must be really good this year. And what about financing, though? I know everybody's worried about interest rates. Are you guys able to try to, come in at less than double-digit interest rates? Is anybody getting a single-digit interest rate right now?
Yeah, so the interest rates are, for the person with average credit, the interest rates are definitely single digits. They have very slowly crept down just a little. They're expected to creep down just a little bit throughout the year. But historically, they're low. The interest rates historically are low. It's just in the recent history, they're relatively high.
Yeah.
And so, what's realistic right now? I mean, there's still some people getting rates in the 6s, but most people are coming in the 8s, some of them in the 7s, that's basically where people are landing.
Yep. Well, that's a whole lot better than I say. That's a whole lot better than 12, 13, 14% that we were seeing just 6-8 months ago.
Yeah, I mean they exactly. I mean, I'm not sure. We did very many in the double digits, if any. With the exception of people with bad credit. But the thing is, there are some rate specials going on. So, for instance, Yamaha has a deal where if you buy a repower engine or a Yamaha boat, they're doing a rate buy down, and you can actually pick which program you want. You can go with a much cheaper rate for a shorter period, or a slightly higher rate for a longer period. But here's the thing I wanted to say. So the interest rates are a little bit of a challenge, but they're not crazy. But here's the deal. The prices have adjusted.
Yes.
And right now is the best time to buy a boat, from what I've seen, since the start of COVID. So, dealers are essentially charging less. There's more inventory. The builders are trying to keep their factories busy, so they've kicked in with some super aggressive rebates in a lot of cases. The technology, the features, everything is quite a bit enhanced. But if somebody's been thinking or waiting, boy, I tell you, I haven't seen it this good since I haven't seen it this good in, let's say, at least 4 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
for the buyer has all the power right now.
Well,
So
and like
good-
you were
good for
saying,
them.
the technology, boats are becoming more expensive because of the technology that's included in them. But the technology that we now possess in a boat, it isn't a pull cord, trying to start a little kicker on an aluminum boat anymore.
Yeah.
We're talking about side scan, down scan, forward scan, radar, autopilot. I mean, basically a complete package system for the boat that is a one and done type scenario with the electronics. And then you have to look at some of the features that the outboards have come out with. Electric steering now instead of hydraulic steering, and some of these other just absolutely incredible features. And even on single engine applications now with like Yamaha's Helmmaster system, you have joystick operation. It's no longer working the throttles, working the steering wheel to dock the boat or position the boat. It's now I just joystick my way to and from the dock when I'm docking.
Stop it.
Yeah, 2 fingers. Thumb and your finger, and you can dock the boat now. It responds to whatever your command is.
Well, and that's an interesting point is, hey, why would you want joystick on a single engine boat? And there is some validity to that question. But here's the thing, with the engines that have fully electric steering, if you're coming into the dock, can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you perfect.
If you're coming into the dock and you've got an engine with, like, for instance, Yamaha's fully electric steer boats, and maybe there's a little bit of wind, there's a little bit of current, when you're using the joystick will turn the engine from lock to lock faster than you can with a human hand.
Yeah.
You can't spin the wheel as fast as the joystick can turn the engine. And so, if you're coming into a tight spot, there's a little bit of wind or current or whatever, hey man, it just became that much easier.
Yeah.
Now, is it worth the extra money for that? It depends on your situation. But the other thing I wanted to say is, with regard to the technology, when you talk about autopilot and side scan and down imaging and, all these bits and pieces, the type of technology, hasn't really changed that much. What has changed, or I should say the categories of technology hasn't changed that much. What has changed is the type of technology or the way it's done. So, autopilots, as an example, used to be, hydraulics.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be, pretty much sort of like separate or autonomous. Now, if you buy a Yamaha Helmmaster system, your joystick is part of the engine control system, which unlocks a whole bunch of really useful features that I can get into, later with somebody one-on-one. But anyway, point being, yes, the technology has changed, but the difference right now at the Orlando Boat Shows, there's just really, really good deals because of factory rebates, selection.
And so you can buy this
features.
technology now cheaper than what you could last year and the year before. It's
100%.
even though prices keep going up to build those things, the technology's been out there long enough that you're actually able to buy better. And so, like you say, now's a great time to buy.
Right. Well, and actually, the truth is that the prices have come down. The inflation of boats, I should say, has come to an end for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened now is that factories and dealers are offering a lot of incentives. Like right now, if you buy a boat for me at the boat show, and it's a 2023 model, not only are you going to get, just a lower price on the boat than you would have during COVID when, quite frankly, when selection was scarce, but there's incentives. So I got builders that are throwing rebates. I'm doing a free extended warranty. And then, on top of that, there's going to be, a lot of selection, which is something that we hadn't had before. So it's a pretty good time to buy a boat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're
So,
ready.
Orlando,
in the meantime, we're doing repowers at a pretty good rate with Yamaha and Mercury. We're doing electronics refits. So, yeah.
That's one thing that a lot of people that may have bought a boat 7, 8, 9 years ago, and they have a unit in there. Let's say they've got the typical 9-inch Garmin, right? Okay, with a sounder on it. That technology is 30-year-old technology. Honestly, what's come out in the last 6 years is light years ahead of what you are currently using. And so now when you start looking at, okay, I've got enough room in my console, I can trim this another inch or another couple of inches. I could put a 10-inch screen. I could put a 12-inch screen with a split, a split feature where I can run the transducer on half and the plotter on the other half, or however you want to configure it. And then I can add a side scan, down scan technology to that. Right now, retrofitting is huge for guys that have a boat, that they like the boat. They're happy with the boat, but retrofitting motors and retrofitting electronics right now is huge, and because of the technology advancements.
Well, and here's the other part of that is that the technology, in the new platform Yamaha engines is the sort of platform that unlocks a whole bunch of future upgrades and features.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an example, Siren Marine was bought by Yamaha, and Siren Marine is a boat control and awareness system. It's more than a security system. But on my boat right now, for instance, I can tell you by going on my phone how much fuel is on board, what my trolling motor battery level of charge is, whether or not I need to fill up the freshwater holding tank, how many hours are on the engines. I can tell you where it's located and whether or not somebody has entered the cabin door, whether or not there's water in the bilge. So you're going to start to see a whole bunch of new features that are sort of unlocked by the new platform engines from Yamaha.
That's really cool.
The same is true for some of the other brands.
Well, I was going to say that's not just a motor system. That's a complete boat maintenance system, maintenance and management system. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, buddy, we're against our next break. How does somebody come over and see some of this new technology this weekend over there at the Orlando Boat Show?
Sure. Just give us a call. The store number 321-638-0090. And if they call my cell phone, I can probably get them some free passes. And my number is 321-432-4843.
432.
Thanks for everything, guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
432-4843 for free passes to the boat show.
You can't beat that.
From Paul Bruby.
and I'll do
Exactly.
that. I'll
Call
do
after
that
midnight.
As long as I have passes to give out, just give me a call and I'll get you some free passes.
And what's that number one more time?
321-432-4843.
4843. Thanks so much for the talk this morning, Paul. Good luck at the boat show, and we will. I'll give you a shout here shortly.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, there's a whole lot more Catch a Memory, so don't go away. It is time. You know what time it is?
Starbright time.
It's Starbright season, right? It's Starbright time.
I tried to push it early, but
So, well, that's okay.
That's okay.
So buckets full of cool stuff that Starbright gives away to each of my guests that come on the show. You've been using the product for a long time. Their products are absolutely fantastic. Now, here's a new product that I'm excited about. You've seen this whole new world of ceramic technology that's been coming out here in the last year or two. Starbright's been working on some ceramics as well, and they've come out with an entire line from boat wash and waxes to details, speed detailers to various other things that are now have this ceramic technology. This one is the one that, and I've tried the boat wash and wax, really like it. This is the one that I'm kind of excited about because according to the guys and gals at Starbright, this new Starbright ceramic technology, it's SiO2 Tech, whatever their particular version of their ceramics that they've included in their products is. This is a wax and seal, okay? This new product, I'm being told, is better than their premium marine polish with the PTEF in it.
Which was one of my favorites.
Which is like this, in my opinion, it's, as far as polishes, waxes go, if you will, it sets the standard. I mean, premium marine polish is one of the best products that I've ever used for that particular type of an application, a polishing and keeping things clean. I actually, when I used to run tournaments, I had the bottom of my boat buffed with premium marine polish.
Oh, you want to get that extra
2 mile an hour faster.
I was fixing to say.
2 mile an hour doesn't seem like much until you're making a 45-minute or an hour-long run, and you're now getting 2 more miles to the gallon, which means that you're running more efficiently. Your fuel consumption is less. If you want to throttle it back a little bit, fuel consumption is less because you're more efficient in the water. The hydrophobic tendencies of the polymer keep like a cushion between the fiberglass and the water, and so the water can't hold on to the fiberglass as good. Makes it slicker. Bottom line, it just makes it slicker. It slides through the water.
That's what you want.
Slides through the water easier, more efficiently, saves fuel, goes faster. This stuff they're saying is even better. So I'm really excited to try this particular product.
Does that come with the bucket?
Nope. This is a one and only and going home with me kind of a scenario right here.
Well, don't turn your back.
No black bottles in the white bucket.
Don't turn your back,
just white bottles in the white bucket right now. But anyway, this is the thing. Companies like Starbright and other companies that I've been able to team up with, they are constantly pushing the boundary to find what's the next best thing for our customers. And I mean, who hasn't used a Starbright product and gone, wow, this is a really cool product?
Yeah. Well, like really you said, they try to stay one step ahead of the competition, and they do a great job.
And the thing about this is it's designed more in a marine application. So yeah, there's ceramic car wax, okay, but is it going to hold up in a saltwater environment? Yeah, there's ceramic speed detailer, but is it going to hold up in a saltwater environment? So what they've tried to do was make sure that they were using the best possible products in their ceramic lineup that was saltwater,
it was
resistant.
Definitely tested. Yeah, and it was tested. I mean,
they had 4 or 5 different types of this that they came out with, and over the last year and a half, 2 years, and they keep trying, and we're not satisfied with that. Let's see what else we can make this thing do. And they finally come out with this particular version that they're happy with bringing to market and saying, hey, we feel like this is a product that people can truly see a difference in compared to a competitor's product. So I'm really excited about I'm actually going to put this stuff on my truck too.
Might as well.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
I put the regular, marine polish, the premium marine polish on it, and it lasts 5 to 6 months.
I haven't seen the new truck.
That's saying something down here in
Florida
sun.
Oh yeah.
Before it stops beating. So this stuff, I'll be excited to see how it works. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, Starbright ceramic wax and seal is just one of the new products in the ceramic line that you guys and gals can look for out there. And there's a lot more, and I'll be showing you those over the next couple of weeks.
And this bucket's mine, guys.
That bucket is yours.
I don't give any of this away.
Well, it looks like we got a caller. Blair Wiggins is calling in. Good morning to the Mogan Man. What's going on this morning, buddy?
Good morning, guys. What's going on up that way?
We are just enjoying the morning. I know you were enjoying the morning yesterday. We had another clam planting that happened yesterday, Captain Blair, when I was running down the river, and I said, "I see you."
He was knee deep.
I texted him. He was waist deep.
Yeah.
I was like, "I see you."
I was wondering if that was you out there. I saw the T-top. Like, that kind of looks like Jim's boat, but he's in a T-top today?
Yeah,
I
that was.
Oh
the
yeah,
T-top boat.
it keeps that sun off of him from 6 a.m. to 10.
No, it does not. Well, what's going on with Blair this morning?
Well, I think we surpassed the 30 million clam mark yesterday. Is what I was calling to let you know, and we put out 3 million yesterday there at Hog Point, and got them all staked off. And the drone worked pretty darn good yesterday. It released all the clams real quick. I think when you saw us in the water, we were putting out the little test buckets to see how many we had per square foot around.
Yeah.
Them scientific things, them guys at Whitney do.
That is cool.
Actually, it was Corey and Norm out there carried me and Drayton. So we got everything on footage, on film. It looked pretty cool, and we planted probably 400 yards in a matter of 10 minutes.
I was gonna say just minutes.
Unbelievable.
You've got to see this thing
spreading out.
I mean, if you haven't gone and seen a clam planting, it's when we did that last one down there, I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" It's a flying deer feeder. This thing's huge, right? And it's spreading clams.
We would have announced it.
So it's throwing them out.
We would have announced this one, but we had a couple of things that we were trying new and want to make sure they're right. So
we wanted to make sure that they were going to work first. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mark, this thing, this drone is, I don't know, 6 foot, 7 foot in diameter. It's gigantic. It takes up the whole front deck of Blair's Deck Cat, 27-foot boat, right? Takes up the whole front deck of this thing. They launch it off. It's got about 6 or 8 propellers to lift this thing out. And it does. It's like a flying deer feeder. It's just out there slinging clams, like a deer feeder slings corn. And they can create a predetermined flight path, so they can say, we want to see this particular section of the river, and it's very, very precise, and it just flies back and forth and coats that whole area.
That's cool.
Kind of like planting crops, if you will, yeah. But the deer feeder's flying, so
and keeps you out of the water.
That's originally what this drone was made for, was for planting crops in areas, or planting in areas that accessible by tractor or whatnot, or just planting regular fields. They can set the grid up, lay out exactly the amount of seed that they wanted, just like they can lay out as many clams as they wanted to. So wanted to pass that info on to you. And the other clams are doing good. The spawning areas, I mean, the beds that we have are spawning, and people are finding clams everywhere still, and which is a good thing.
That's a good thing. Now, real quick, Blair, before we go to our next break, the spawn, does it happen twice a year, or is it only once a year?
It can happen multiple times a year. It all depends on it happens when the water temperature fluctuates. Like this, the past couple of weeks have been a perfect time for the clams to spawn, because we've had warm water, cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, and then it stayed cold for a few days, then warm up, and then get back cold. That we probably had 5 or 6 spawns. I mean,
really?
Yeah, anytime that temperature is just right, they're spawning.
So they don't have to wait till, like deer, the fall of the year, that they have a rut, and they impregnate the males impregnate the females. This is something that the water fluctuates, maybe gets down to 65 and then comes back up to 75, and they spawn again, and then it drops back down, and then it comes back up, and they can spawn again.
When the mood's right, they get it done.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
And another thing too, was out this past week in Mosquito Lagoon with Lisa Fitzgerald and the CCA. The Star Tournament's fixing to kick off, and there is 2 fresh redfish out in Mosquito Lagoon that's tagged for the Star Tournament. So anybody that's out there that's a member of CCA that knows about the Star Tournament, highly recommend you get out there and become a member of CCA and register for the Star Tournament, because 2 years ago when we released a couple of redfish, I think we released 4 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And before the tournament, before the tournament started, somebody caught one, became a member, and then somebody caught one after that, after the tournament started, and was not a member.
Yep.
And they didn't win anything. You could win a brand new deck cat, a contender, but all kinds of just hundreds of $1,000s worth of prizes. It's unbelievable.
And
Wish I had something like that when I was a kid.
these fish are not in some secret spot. They're in very accessible places. So like you say, go to CCA and get in registered for the Star Tournament, because it's so possible for you to catch one of these fish. It's scary how many people have not registered and could have been, new boat owners or new whatever prize they wanted, first place prize they wanted.
Scholarships
Owners
for your kid, man.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, scholarships.
It's a good deal. Well, Blair, thanks so much for the call this morning, and we appreciate you going out there and getting the deer feeder clam spreader flying. And 30 million clams we've now put back in the lagoon system through the Indian River Lagoon Restoration Project, clam restoration initiative.
It has been a dream come true, brother. And one more thing, the trout bite in Mosquito Lagoon, we went to go film just a couple of those redfish getting tagged. Ended up making a whole show with the trout that we caught, and it was the biggest I've seen in the lagoon in, let's say, about 7 years.
Nice.
So I'll leave that one for a surprise. But appreciate it, guys. Mark, Jim, Paul, you guys have a great day.
You all right, buddy. Blair. Thanks so much for the call this morning, Blair.
See you, buddy.
All right, man. We'll see you. Bye.
Right, bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our last break of the day, and then we come back. We got a wrap up here at Catch a Memory, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Starbright. Brought to you by Strike Zone. We did Starbright on the last segment.
Yes, we did.
Well, if you go to Strike Zone, you can get some Starbright.
Get some Starbright.
You can also get some Engle. You can also get some Assassin. You can also get some various other things that are sponsors of this show. Mark, one of the cool places that we have is Strike Zone, and the reason is they have just about everything that you could possibly want as an angler. It's a one-stop shop type scenario, and they do a fantastic job of getting you the right colors for the right time of the year, the right size lines, lures. Those guys fish. And because they fish,
they know what you want.
They can tell you what you need.
Yeah.
If you don't know. Now, if you do know, then you know. But if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. And they're not scared to tell you where to go.
Right. Stop in the Strike Zone and check them out, because you guys and gals are going to be pretty impressed. Want to say good morning to everybody out there on Facebook. We didn't get a chance to do that earlier, but, man, we really appreciate you guys tuning in every Saturday. We've got people from Osteen to Pennsylvania to Captain Kyle checking in from the Azores today. Halfway across the world, over by Spain.
Gotta love that.
Checking in.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic deal that you guys and gals continue to support the show. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday and listening to what's going on. And hopefully we're doing something that's getting you out on the water, out in the woods, getting you outdoors to do something that you enjoy doing. That's the main purpose behind this show, is to help you have more fun when you get out there. So hopefully it's doing that. And it's great to see the kind of interaction that we get on the Facebook feed throughout the shows, because people are really enjoying listening to the shows and getting some good insight. Now, Mark, you were just talking during the break about shining your prop up a little bit, because there's a little bit shallow where you're trying to fish.
It gets a little
right now.
skinny. It gets a little skinny.
And as long as you don't hit those oysters, you're okay. They can be sand is one thing. Oysters can be a whole
and that's usually where we haven't really said anything, but the pompano bite up in my area
really
has been going pretty good.
Hush on that, huh?
Well, I mean, to a point.
We're letting the cat out of the bag
to
now?
a point. They have started to show up a little bit more to the south,
right?
But they're starting to show up. and maybe just free dressing some shrimp.
Now,
and
here's the thing that
little
most
split
people
shot.
don't understand about that Daytona area. There are a lot of holes and depressions and rocky ledges and things like that. You guys, in Canaveral, we don't have this. Okay, Sebastian does not have this. Ponce Inlet up in New Smyrna, Daytona, you guys basically have a year-round weak fish fishery.
Offshore.
Well, I mean,
No, honestly, we do. Yeah,
I mean, throughout the year, whether it's January, whether it's July, there's almost 12 months of the year where you can chase weak fish.
I was catching croakers in 56-degree water. Now, like you said, last year, they didn't even show up till 72 degrees. Yeah. So there's spots around, and like you said, you got to look for the deep holes. Yeah. It's no rocket science. I mean, it's that Daytona area is a.
But you're marking these fish. You're pulling them up and you're marking them and saying, "Hey, they are here."
And if you get on some of these, like you said, Google Earth and all these other spots, and look for you some deep holes. It's always changing. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like you got to try to stay one step ahead, maybe not of everybody, but of your game. Try to learn more and more. And that's one thing that I've learned. Get on there and look for some spots, because you'll see dark holes on Google Earth and find some of the latest, satellite imagery that you can find. And that's kind of how I've been spotting some of these fish. Find that hole, and, while you're on the charter, try it there. And it's kind of see what's been happening.
Right.
That's the one thing. I tell you what, if you're not chasing that tide around, because, if you put in the Dunlop Bridge, it's 3 hours difference to the inlet.
To the inlet, yeah.
And so you're going, oh, it's high tide. Well, you put in over there, and it gets really skinny in that one spot. Yeah. But yes, it's not been too bad. I mean, but like you said, it's just it's all tide related up there, and it's a whole new ball game than going underwater and shooting them with a spear gun, which is a lot easier.
Until the shark shows up.
Yeah. There's too many sharks now. I try to stay out of that water. But we were starting to show up some flounder. Some flounder was in the river.
Really?
Let me tell you what, I caught one that had to be 4 inches thick. Biggest flounder I had seen. Caught him, but I guess as a juvenile, he must have been bit in half, because he was 4 inches thick and 13 7/8 is this long. Had no tail and no back end, and you had to let him go.
Yeah.
Because he didn't make that 14 inch cut there, but it's been pretty good. I mean, the blues, like we talked about earlier, are all over the place.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we may have some more coming up. And the sharks are starting to show up. So
it's the time of year, locals not so much.
Yeah.
Some local people like to catch sharks. I mean,
you're exactly right about that.
So here's the thing. Guys are like, I don't really want to target a shark. I want to target something else. But when they get the shark on,
especially on light tackle,
it's a big time.
Yeah, buddy.
They're not, they're smiling.
Yeah.
The drag's screaming, the line's getting pulled. If it's a spinner shark, you're lucky if you even land it, because they're hard. Honestly, they're harder to land than a tarpon is. Yeah. You land a spinner shark, you've done something.
Yeah. Tarpon's jumping, spinners, why they call them a spinner.
Wrapping your line,
wrapping it up,
breaking it.
Yeah, I like to use a lot of spinning rods, maybe like 8,000 or something like that on the sharks, because.
And we've been getting a lot of bull sharks in the river.
Oh, yeah.
They're starting to show up in numerous places.
Big bulls.
Yeah.
Big bulls.
Anywhere from 2.5, 3 feet up to 7 or 8 feet. Yeah. The bigger ones, I've not landed any of those, but I'm not rigged for a
You're not ready. You don't
bull
even,
shark in 2 feet of water.
Yeah, I caught one probably in January on 20-pound leader. It just happened he didn't even get it in. It just hooked his lip. But and then like you said, the weak fish have been showing up on the beaches a lot too. A lot of the problems with the beach stuff is when the hurricanes came, it pretty much covered up most of all of our artificial stuff on the beaches. We probably had, 20 or 30 spots within that 3 mile. And they don't really have a big relief place now to hide, because most of it's covered up. Yeah. And back to the electronics, you said, the SIMRAD down scan, it would show you a culvert pipe pretty much laid out. And now it's just one big hump. So hopefully, in, the next
hurricanes have changed that a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got the CFOA tournament coming up here, and one of the things that tournament does is it raises money for near coastal wrecks and reefs, and offshore wrecks and reefs, the 15-mile area, and also this new 2.5-mile area off of Canaveral. So one of the things that guys and gals that sign up for the CFOA tournament that's coming up can say that they're helping with is this nearshore reef off Canaveral, which is sorely needed.
Let me tell you, it'll be amazing when it happens.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm so looking forward to that. But, well, buddy, we're at a show.
Hey,
we're
2
out of,
hours.
2
boom.
hours is gone.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in this
Well,
morning.
I'm sorry. It's been a while. A lot going on, but getting back into the fishing.
I'm glad you were able to get back in, and you're going to go do some fishing today.
We're gonna go try it. Go give it.
So
give
if
it a
somebody
whirl.
wants to get a hold of Captain Mark, go do some fishing up in that Ponce Inlet, New Smyrna, Daytona area. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, Facebook's an easy way. Captain Mark Gibson on Facebook, or Daytona Beach Fishing Charters, Naughty Diver, or 386-214-1477, and we'll go out there and catch a memory.
There you go.
That's what we do.
There you go. Well, I tell you what, guys and gals, we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in each week. And, we got a lot of things going on this spring. Next week is the crawfish boil. The following week, we got something going on. There's every weekend there's something going on. We got the Boaters Exchange event coming up, the Central Florida Shootout, the CFOA tournament, the FSFA tournament. A lot of things coming up here. Hopefully, we will be at a lot of these and see you guys and gals out there.